Hello, how are you all? I hope you're doing well. Have you been watching the Olympics? I haven't either. I haven't watched any of it, but I did read an interesting story today that I thought was pretty funny that I would share with you. The U.S. women's soccer team in Tokyo opened up the game by 22 of them taking the knee, and this is some video footage of that brave and powerful message that they were sending to the world. Here you are.
Other squads kneel in protest before Olympics matches. Take a knee to protest racism, discrimination and inequality.
And the funniest thing was they came off a 44-game winning streak, and they were supposed to open the Tokyo Games pretty large. The U.S. women's soccer team is ranked number 1 in the world, and Sweden, who beat them in this opening game, is number 5. So this was supposed to be an easy win. Even the Associated Press was saying that it was a really stale opening for America. And also, is this really the time that you want to be, kneeling and not being proud of the country, especially when you have people in Cuba that are oppressed by their government, who does have a communist regime? People in Cuba are in the streets marching and chanting freedom and holding American flags. So does almost every other oppressed country. America is their beacon of hope, their last hope for freedom. So it's just not a good time to turn your back on America, I think. Whatever you think about it, and half of their fan base are probably Republicans. So, and by taking the knee, you're also essentially, because we know that is a Black Lives Matter messaging, you're essentially telling the world that you are for Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter, I don't know, I did a video about it, about the statement that they put out about Cuba, basically blaming the U.S. for all of Cuba's problems and standing with the communist regime that is oppressing the people of Cuba. And Black Lives Matter says that they are against police brutality against Black and brown people when they are standing for the government that is forcing police brutality on Black and brown people in Cuba. So I think that recently showed a lot of people where BLM's true loyalties are at. So is this the time to be supporting an organization like that? Speaking of which, too, Megan Rapinoe, who took part in this brave stance against injustice. Megan Rapinoe, recently she was named an ambassador for Victoria's Secret because they're doing a complete overhaul with their branding. And so she's one of the women that is the face of that. Well, then, and is always in the news with a grievance. Remember that one video? Yeah, that's the kind of person Megan Rapinoe is. But this is why this like social justice-y, I always have a grievance, I always have to virtue signal, which is what a lot of this is. They're just virtue signaling. They obviously don't know anything about BLM, or they wouldn't be supporting them in front of the entire world. But they always have skeletons in their closet. There was this story that came out when Megan Rapinoe was announced the ambassador of one of the ambassadors of Victoria's Secret. Well, this tweet came out which she was making, racial comments, or some could consider some kind of slur or prejudice against a certain race, or stereotyping of a certain race, I should say. And in all honesty, I didn't really think it was that bad, but that just goes to show that it all eats itself. Everyone is guilty. Everyone is a human being, and it's just this virtue signaling so they can feel better about themselves. But usually the ones who virtue signal the most have the most in their closets, or just their character in everyday life, how they treat their friends and their families and the ones that are closest to them. It's usually those people that have the most going on. And I'm not saying it's funny, but I'm also not saying it's not funny that they lost. Just kidding. Let me know what you think about everything, and have a fabulous day. Bye.